Today, we revisit Hill Street Blues, the groundbreaking police drama that changed television forever with its raw emotion, layered storytelling, and unforgettable characters. Over the years, many of the remarkable talents who brought that gritty human world to life have sadly passed away. Whether they played leading officers or appeared in just a single storyline, each one left behind something unforgettable, a spark that made the show real and lasting. In this video, we pay tribute to those beloved cast members who are no longer with us. James B. Sikking, the beloved American actor whose commanding presence and remarkable talent made him one of television's most respected stars, passed away on July 13, 2024. At the age of 90 after a long struggle with dementia. To millions of viewers, he will always be remembered as Lieutenant Howard Hunter in the groundbreaking series Hill Street Blues, the tough and sometimes rigid leader of the emergency action team, a role that not only earned him an Emmy nomination, but also became one of the most iconic parts of his entire career. Born on March 5, 1934, in Los Angeles, California, James grew up as the youngest of 5 children in a deeply spiritual family, with both of his parents serving as unity ministers. His childhood was shaped by discipline, faith, and resilience, and after graduating from high school, he went on to serve proudly in the U.S. Army during the Korean War, an experience that left a lasting mark on him. Following his service, he pursued his education at UCLA, graduating in 1959 while working odd jobs like lifeguarding to support himself, and it was during these years that he developed a passion for acting, later shaping his television character Howard Hunter based on the drill sergeant he once endured during basic training. His career began with uncredited roles in films such as Five Guns West and Von Ryan's Express, but his perseverance soon paid off with standout performances in movies like Point Blank, Ordinary People, The Pelican Brief, and Star Trek III: The Search for Spock. Still, it was television that gave him his greatest success, from his early days as Dr. James Hobart on General Hospital to his unforgettable role as Lt. Hunter on Hill Street Blues, and later as Dr. David Hauser, the wise and loving father of Neil Patrick Harris in Doogie Howser, M.D., before taking on the role of Captain Stan Jonas in Brooklyn South. Beyond the screen, James lived a full and grounded life, marrying his wife Florine in 1962 and raising 2 children while later becoming a proud grandfather to 4 grandchildren. Known for his kindness and humility, he dedicated nearly 20 years of his life to the SAG Book Pals program, earning the nickname Jim the Reader as he visited schools and brought stories to life for children. He also loved fishing, giving back to charity, and simply spending time with his family, always remaining grateful for the career that had given him so much. In his later years, dementia slowly took away the sharpness of his memory, but those who loved him never forgot the warmth of his spirit, his dedication to his craft, and the way he touched audiences worldwide. Though he has left us, James B. Sikking's legacy lives on in every performance, every story he told, and every life he touched, forever remembered as the strong yet human Lieutenant Hunter of Hill Street Blues, and as a man who lived his 90 years with dignity, love, and grace. Barbara Bosson, the gifted American actress whose heartfelt performances left a permanent mark on television, passed away on February 18, 2023, at the age of 83 in Los Angeles, though her family chose to keep the cause of death private, leaving fans remembering her life with both sadness and gratitude. She was born on November 1, 1939, in Charleroi, Pennsylvania, and grew up in the small coal mining town of Belle Vernon, the daughter of a tennis coach. Her early life was not easy. She worked as a secretary, a TV assistant, and even as a Playboy bunny just to support herself while chasing her dream of acting, never giving up even when the odds seemed against her. At 26, when many might have abandoned their dreams, Barbara enrolled at Carnegie Mellon University as the oldest freshman in the drama program, proving her determination to build the life she always wanted. It was there that she met Steven Bochco, who would later become her husband and one of television's most successful producers, and together they built both a family and a legacy. Barbara's early career saw her appear in films such as Bullitt 1968, Maine 1974, Capricorn 1978, and The Last Starfighter 1984, as well as in guest roles on Mannix, Emergency, and Macmillan and Wife. But it was in 1981 that she found her most defining role, Faye Furillo, the ex-wife of Captain Frank Furillo, in the groundbreaking police drama Hill Street Blues. What was intended as a minor appearance quickly became something unforgettable because Barbara breathed so much truth, humor, and raw emotion into the role, turning Faye into a character who was at once vulnerable and strong, funny and heartbreaking, and so real that audiences felt like they knew her personally. Her work on the show earned her 5 consecutive Primetime Emmy nominations, and she fought to ensure that Faye was portrayed not just as an ex-wife, but as a woman with her own story, eventually becoming a victims' rights advocate in the series. She later reunited with Bochco on other shows, starring in Hooperman, Cop Rock, and earning yet another Emmy nomination for her role as prosecutor Miriam Grasso in Murder One, proving that her range as an actress went far beyond any single character. Off-screen, Barbara loved cooking, gardening, skiing, and dancing, and she carried a sense of humor that those closest to her cherished, never afraid to laugh at herself or share her struggles. Though her marriage to Bochco ended in 1997, their union brought 2 children, Jesse and Melissa, and her greatest pride was always in being a devoted mother and grandmother, her family remembering her as someone whose love, zest, and honesty could light up a room. In her later years, Barbara lived more quietly, away from the Hollywood spotlight, but her legacy remained alive through the countless fans who had been moved by her performances. When news of her passing came, tributes poured in not only for the Emmy-nominated actress, but for the woman who showed what it meant to fight for dignity, honesty, and truth in every role she played. Barbara Bosson's story is not just one of fame, but of resilience, courage, and humanity. And though she has left us, her voice, her characters, and her spirit will continue to live on in the memories of all who were touched by her work. Yaphet Kotto, the towering and unforgettable American actor whose presence was both commanding and deeply human, passed away on March 15, 2021, in the Philippines at the age of 81, with the cause of death never publicly disclosed. Born Yaphet Frederick Kotto on November 15, 1939, in New York City, his life was as unique as his career. His mother, Gladys Marie, was a nurse and U.S. Army officer of Panamanian and West Indian descent, while his father, Abraham Kotto, was a Cameroonian immigrant of royal ancestry who had been raised Jewish. After his parents separated, young Yaphet was brought up in the Bronx by his maternal grandparents, who nurtured his Jewish upbringing, and it was during these difficult childhood years that he found inspiration in Marlon Brando's performance in On the Waterfront, sparking his dream of becoming an actor. By 16, he was studying at the Actors Mobile Theater Studio, and by 19, he made his professional debut as Othello, later joining the Actors Studio and performing on Broadway in The Great White Hope. His early screen work included small parts in Four for Texas 1963, Nothing But a Man 1964, and The Thomas Crown Affair 1968, but soon his undeniable power landed him major roles in Across 110th Street 1972 as Harlem gangster Mr. Big/Dr. Kananga in the James Bond classic Live and Let Die 1973, as Ugandan dictator Idi Amin in Raid on Entebbe 1977, and as Parker, the engineer of the Nostromo, in Ridley Scott's Alien 1979, a role that became iconic in science fiction history. He went on to star alongside Richard Pryor and Harvey Keitel in Paul Schrader's Blue Collar 1978, held his own against Arnold Schwarzenegger in The Running Man 1987, and made audiences laugh in Midnight Run 1988 as the no-nonsense FBI agent Alonzo Mosley. Though he turned down roles like Lando Calrissian in Star Wars and Captain Picard in Star Trek: The Next Generation, choices he would later admit he regretted, Yaphet Kotto forged a career on his own terms, never allowing himself to be typecast and always pushing for roles that showed depth, complexity, and dignity. On television, he found a defining role as Lieutenant Al Giardello in Homicide: Life on the Street 1993 to 1999, where his calm authority and nuanced humanity made him a fan favorite over 7 seasons. Beyond acting, he was also a writer, penning scripts for Homicide and publishing his autobiography The Royalty 1997, where he explored his claimed royal Cameroonian ancestry and even suggested a distant connection to Queen Victoria, a claim Buckingham Palace firmly denied, but which reflected his lifelong fascination with identity and heritage. His personal life was as full as his professional one: 3 marriages, 6 children, and in his later years, a quiet life in the Philippines with his 3rd wife, Tessie Sinahan, who announced his passing in a heartfelt message, calling him not just a great actor, but a real hero, a good man, a good father, a good husband, and a decent human being very rare to find. Known for his 6'4" frame and powerful intensity, Yaphet Kotto broke barriers for Black actors in Hollywood, often cast as villains or authority figures, but always bringing dignity, intelligence, and a quiet strength that defied stereotypes. His Emmy-nominated performance as Idi Amin, his groundbreaking role as the first Black James Bond villain, and his lasting legacy as Lieutenant Giardello stand as proof of his immense talent. Though his death left fans shocked and heartbroken, his work continues to inspire, reminding the world that he was more than just a character actor. He was a trailblazer, a man of conviction, and one of Hollywood's most unforgettable presences.